So now we're back. I've gone ahead and created everything required for our plastic production. So very quickly, I'm going to bring this sheet up here, our lovely file we had before. We needed 330 plastic. So that ended up, we needed 17 refineries making the plastic, and we needed 5 refineries making the coke that would feed that into awesome sinks, and we have those in front of us here. So I want to go through a explanation of how this has all been set up, and then we'll turn it on. We'll turn it on now and we'll observe it as we go through, because I'm sure there's going to be some mistakes I'll find. So all the steam's kicking on and a lot of those, and this one needs to be connected to here, so there's another mistake. Rightio. So let's head over to the most important part, and that is the oil output. So we have 2 separate outputs coming from one of our train stations, feeding liquid buffers. These buffers are here so that when the train station loads and unloads, it can actually continue to pump product. We have the, we'll go back up our wonderful staircase we created earlier, which is totally one of our favorite things here. So what I've created is 10 refineries that way, because each one of the plastic refineries requires 30 crude oil. So that's a 300 pipe, and the way I've done it is I've split that pipe, split this here that's coming from that feed and feeding half at one end, and the other half feeds in at the other end. So we get the fluid getting pushed in from both directions, and you can see here the center stuff does take a bit of time to get it, but it does get it. It's like a load balance / manifold type of configuration. Then we have at the back, we have our output, because we have plastic and we have fluid coming out that has to be dealt with. So we have very similar to how we set up the coal setup, where we have the conveyor lifts going over the top and the pipes going underneath. So out of all, and then we have the other 7 refineries on the opposite facing way, so everything's coming into the middle and going out, and this is the other input of crude oil here. Now what's happening here is, if we go back to, we needed 330 plastic, but it was actually our assemblers for the circuit boards needed 240 plastic, and the manufacturers needed 90 plastic. So what I've done here is that this here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and another 6. That's 12 times 20. That's 240 plastic going out that way. And then we've got the remaining, well, there's 100 plastic, not 90, going that way. And they just drop down underneath like so, and that's going to get fed to the machines. They're not going anywhere right now because I haven't gotten that far. I just wanted to show you that this works. And the same setup here. And as we come around, here we have the output that's going down. That's the 240 out. Now what we have here is our fluid that we have to deal with, a heavy oil residue that we're going to turn into petroleum coke. So that's being fed to these 5 refineries here, and they are, because it's 170 in total coming in, and each refinery will take 40, we can bring it all down and merge it into one line coming through here. I do have it joined at the back as well, so it's getting pushed in from a few different angles. But one thing here you'll notice, I've got some pipeline pumps. And the point of these pipeline pumps, and you'll notice them, they're not powered on. They act as a valve, because this is the flow direction of the pump, and it prevents any like backflow from these other machines flowing back this way. So once the product comes through these pipeline pumps, it will never feed backwards. It's just a little safety precaution, and helps maintain flow. And then this is our these are the petroleum coke machines, and they're producing the petroleum coke. Now it's 120 per machine, so there's 240 output plus this one here, so I split that output and join it in here. So we've got our 270 output feeding into that sink, and then another sink. So we are also generating points at the same time by doing this output. Seems to be working well. Product is flowing. It's a bit slower getting the product in at some points, but it works. It's happening. It's because that the amount of fluid is being pushed through like in a manifold style, and that's generally the working solution. That will actually, what will happen now is this will stop working. And the reason why it will stop working is I'm not doing anything with the plastic yet. The plastic's backed up because I haven't actually sent it over to the machines that are going to use it. So that is the side effect of having these machines that have two outputs. You have to deal with both products. We've been dealing with the fluid, but the fluid's being dealt with 100%. Now it's the plastic. So we'll go and hook that up to the production lines where it's required, and then that'll continue on. But that finishes the plastic production line setup. One thing you did notice down here is that because it was only 17 machines in total, I left a gap for 3 machines, because I could either have another 3 plastic machines here, or I could have 3 rubber machines here, or some other machines that we may need in the future. We don't know, but right now I'm not going to overproduce plastic if I don't need to.